Hey, it's Nick here from Greyscalegorilla. Today's video is from our live show where Chad Ashley shows off some of our new features in Greyscalegorilla Plus. You'll learn the power of using our new node-based materials and how to get the most out of our thin wall subsurface scattering in the latest fabric materials. Then we debate over our new favorite HDRIs, and we get a breakdown of Chad's full paracord and polystyrene scene files. If you're a Plus member or thinking about becoming one, you won't want to miss this one. All right, let's jump into the live show recording.
Take it away, Chad.
Right. So if you have updated recently, as of last week, you may have noticed this extra little drop down in your Plus library that says material type, node, or espresso. So if you are familiar with the new node system that has sort of slowly been being adopted by Redshift and Arnold, then you will be familiar with that. So now we have the ability to create materials directly from the library in either the node-based workflow or the Espresso node-based workflow, which I know can be confusing. So for instance, if we have it selected to Espresso and I have my renderer set to Redshift, I can just drag one of these materials into my scene and I can hit edit shader graph, and it's going to be the old familiar Espresso node setup. So that's still there for you if you like that. Or if you want to switch to the new node system, we can grab that same material again, drag it into my scene, find it, and now you can see it's got the new node system, and because you'll know it's under basic, it's down here now. If I hit that, now we have the pretty little new node system all right there, which I kind of prefer using these. Honestly, I haven't used the Espresso nodes since we started testing this feature because I just find this workflow to be so much easier on my eyeballs, because trying to connect stuff in Espresso can be like really challenging. All right, so you said you want to see something pretty. Okay, so I'm going to grab one of the fabric gray wool fuzz felt material, or actually it's a fabric material. I'm going to drag it onto this model that I have here, which is just a test scene that we use to test all of our materials. And the reason I wanted to show you guys this is because I don't think a lot of people know that these materials, like we mentioned earlier in our stream, you can backlight them because they're using that thin wall translucency. So you can see here we have a light that's underneath this fabric kind of shining out. And you can see you get all of that detail right inside there. Let me just grab a camera that's a little bit closer to see. It's going to take a second because I've got the displacement kind of cranked up right now. Let me actually just turn that off for right now. Actually, we'll leave it. It's fine. So we capture all of this translucency in our process, and we give that to you, the user, so that you can make stuff look like cool backlit fabric or felt or whatever. So let's go ahead and turn the lights back on in the scene so we can actually kind of see what it really looks like. Let's jump back out to a wide angle. So that is just kind of there for you. And if we open up that material in the node editor, let me make this a little bit bigger. You can see it's all set up for you right there. And if you want to flip it over from thin wall to regular subsurface, you can just do that right here under geometry and Redshift. And that will change it back to a random walk subsurface. Something like if you have like a thickness or maybe like that owl actually would be a good one to show. But yeah, I just wanted to show that because it's kind of a cool demo to like turn off all the lights and just see that detail in there. And let's grab maybe a different one to see what kind of some of these other ones might look like. Let's try one of this like fabric teal weave. I have no idea if this one is going to be too thick, because some of these materials were so thick that you didn't even really see that much translucency happening. Ooh, but this one's nice because you can see like the little pinholes. You can kind of see all of that really good information. Let's just actually jump out here and grab this. We'll get in there close so we can really see it. And again, I should probably freeze my tessellation so it goes a little faster. Yeah, so I mean the detail is pretty insane. So even if we turn off I also have like a little bit of a fill light in here, but if I turn that off completely, so now we're just seeing the light poking through. If I kind of come down here, you can kind of like see that there's a light inside of there. But all of that really does help a ton to make something look, from something looking sort of like fake and like almost like plasticky. That subsurface on cloth and felt really is what sells it as being realistic. Let's go ahead and turn our lights back on, and let's try a different material. Let's jump over. Actually, what scene do you want to see? I've got like every scene here. I don't know which one you're interested. You want to go right to the owls, or what are you thinking, Nick?
I mean, I love that little owl guy. Yeah, I would love to see some of that. Let us know in the comments what you guys want to see. If you were here earlier with the promo video, I had full screen. Anything from there, Chat looks like Chat's got a bunch of seed files open. We'd love to show you a little behind the scenes. But let's go owls.
Yeah, so like the owl, again, like this is not optimized for a demo because this is all like actual production files, so that the owl has quite a bit of subdivisions on for the displacement for the felt. So it's going to take a hot second for it to calculate. And I should probably also turn off optics because that'll slow things down. Let's see here.
How many centimeters tall is the owl?
I mean, we could look. All right, so let's let this fire up for a second, and I could probably hide some of these as well. So before, I showed you that fabric that was using the thin wall translucency, and in this particular model, because it's a solid object, it didn't really make a whole lot of sense to do that. So instead, I flipped it over to random walk to get that sort of like look. And I'm going to show you what this looks like with and without it, because it's a pretty stark difference. So I'm going to grab the beige, light beige 01 material. And I think this was using, this is using the espresso nodes. So if we jump into this material, and let's jump out of the takes to make sure that my take, I can actually manipulate some stuff over here. And let's let that catch up to what I was doing. But what we're going to do is we're going to open up this standard material, and we're going to flip the thin wall back on. So if I flip thin wall back on, I'm just going to region over his face just so we don't have to wait so long. I'll also go ahead and freeze the tessellation. So let's let that cook for a second. So what that's going to do is it's going to immediately look a little bit worse, because obviously this isn't a thin, it's not a thin object. It's actually has depth. It's got volume to it, right? So if I turn off and I just use it default using thin walled, because it's not a plane and there's no light behind it, it ends up looking, it still looks like felt, but it kind of looks like a dingier, almost like, I don't know, like a thicker kind of like not really translucent kind of a vibe. So all I did was just come into there and turn off thin walled, which basically forces the subsurface to go back into a random walk mode. And then I'm just adjusting the scale here. Basically, how far do I want the light to be able to penetrate into that felt? But it's a pretty huge difference in terms of the quality of the look, in my opinion. So if you're using it on something thick, I recommend doing this. And if you're using it something like on a piece of cloth, then I recommend the default thin walled. But
we got a question about what that setting is in Octane. Do you know where to find that?
I believe if you're using the standard surface in Octane, it I don't know offhand. Somebody Jake in the chat will probably know. If you show up to the Discord later, I'm sure we'll have somebody in there that knows, but I don't know the exact setting. But in Arnold and Redshift, it's basically the same as what I just showed you.
Yeah, hop into the Discord. I have a feeling Jake or somebody in there might know. Even if not, it's a perfect Discord question, because we have channels specifically for different renders in there. So if you have any questions about how to use our stuff in specific renders, or just other renders in general, it's been a great place to see people help each other and just kind of build a community of other artists that use the same render you do, and you can help each other out. Oh, look at how absolutely horrifically sad this little buddy is.
Oops. I know.
And now that he's out of focus, he's like even more spooky.
I know. He's like, now it's like, it kind of does look kind of spooky, but let me go ahead and focus in on this. Yeah, the detail on these felts, man, there's just so good. And especially if you start throwing like a little hair on there to get that extra bit of detail, it's pretty insane. But yeah, let's just zoom out and get the whole deal. But yeah, and this is just lit with a single HDRI. So yeah, that's one of my, I'm not sure what I'm afraid to see what HDRI I'm using in case it's one that Nick doesn't approve of, and then he'll be mad at me forever. So I'm going to like make sure I don't click on my HDRI right now. But yeah, anyway,
that's Chad's secret. That he's got the custom. Chad waits a year in the future and then he finally releases it to you guys. You know, that's part of his charm.
I like to use it, you know, by myself for a while, make sure it's good, and then
that's right. It's used. It's really a used market.
Yeah, I warm it up for people. That's really all I do.
They want to really see the size. They're really interested in the actual.
Right,
just put a human. Why don't you just put a human model next to him, and we can talk about that. Right. Talk about that as a technique. You know.
There you go.
Oh, there you go. So perfect. So it's smaller than a Care Bear.
Let me hide the environment.
Bigger than a He-Man action figure. Smaller than a Care Bear. Maybe 12. No, 8,
no, it's
10-inch.
It's about, you know, it's stuffed animal size.
Stuffed animal size.
Yeah,
right.
I think it's like, let me look. I might actually
do the measurement.
Like, I don't feel like doing that. I'm too lazy.
It's late.
Yeah.
As a technique though, you just have to be in the ballpark. It matters more when you're comparing things at a smaller scale and you need, you know, the screw of your headphones to be at the right proportion to the actual headphones. Like when things get really micro and they have to fit all in together, of course, they got to be perfect scale and size. But when you're trying to make sure your camera interacts with the materials, interacts with the size of your object, this kind of general sizing that we're talking about, you can you can be close. You could be close. So you literally draw a circle on a piece of paper on how big you think this thing is, measure it, and put that in centimeters. In fact, little tip, a lot of you might know this, you could type inches into Cinema 4D and it will calculate centimeters for you. So if you say, hey, I want this cube to be 8 inches tall, you could just type 8 IN, hit enter. And if you're already working in centimeters, it'll just do the conversion and it will, you know, if you're a dumb American like us and you don't use the metric system, you just type in inches and it'll convert it into centimeters right away. And that's true with a couple other things. You could do math in those places. There's a bunch of fun stuff you could do, but that'll be another time. Wellborn says that looks impressive. I agree. Look how cute this guy is.
I checked while you were talking, and I am using Creative Space 04. I am not in risk.
It's a new one. So, all right, we got a vote for 04. So Chad didn't technically say it was his favorite, but he is using it in this beautiful render. Also, earlier in the chat, I wanted to call it out, but we got talking with Jake. Somebody mentioned that 05 is their jam.
Should we try it? Let's try it.
Yeah, go ahead and click the 05. Sorry for not remembering your name, but thanks for the shout out. 05 better than everything else, they said.
Well, that's a good choice because that is where I'm sitting. Creative Space 05 is actually the Greyscalegorilla office. So that's interesting.
I would say right now it's in the running for my favorite. I was waiting for somebody else to pick it to talk about it, but I don't know if it's just because I've been to that office and I know the lighting and I love the lighting there. Like it's super dark. It's really contrasty. The original, right? The original Creative Spaces had a little bit more balance to it. It was definitely very heavy on the window side of things, but there was a lot of other balance and little lights The one based on your office where you're sitting right now is 5. That one is so contrasty. It's and I love it. Like when you really want that dark shadow, just like you're showing right now, 05 is a good start. I love it. And there's those cute posters you have on the wall that I use as the background, those like orange and yellow posters. I always love seeing those like blurred out in the background. Fun one to use because I know that space so well.
Yep.
But,
Whoa, weird. Didn't realize
how's
that like if you I just found this hotkey. I didn't realize it was a thing. If you hit V while you have the your render view up, it flips it vertically.
Wait, what's the key?
V. I didn't even mean to do that. I wonder if H
doesn't
means
work for
horizontal.
me.
Oh yeah, H does horizontal. Okay.
Hey, where did you click for that?
I'm just in the render view, the IPR.
Oh, I have Octane open. That's why.
Yeah. Anyway,
Vita says there's something about that owl in the materials. Almost no angle of lighting that doesn't work. I agree. This guy is super cute. I tried to do a quick search on where you found him, see if I could find that owl on Turbo Squid. I have not found it. So if you remember, or if you see a receipt, put it in the Discord. Let everyone know they want to play around. Maybe there's some other fun animals. All right, I see Styrofoam. Let's maybe close with this one since we're getting late. We should hop into the Discord here soon as well. I love this scene, by the way. First of all, question on my mind: did you make that with the volume builder? Like, how did you build this piece of Styrofoam?
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what I did. It's literally just a bunch of cubes that I subtracted from a volume mesher. And then what I did was I brought in the tactile logo and I added that to my whole volume mesher build thing. And then I just used, on volume mesher, you can kind of smooth stuff out a little bit to get that like smooth vibe. And that's really what I did. Let's just zoom in here so we can really see it. But yeah, and it turned out like I didn't really do that much. I mean, I think I maybe actually designed the package in Figma just to like get a rough idea of what I wanted to do because I wanted it to
out.
Yeah, just to sketch it out because I wanted it to be a plus and I wanted it to be like, something kind of like you might see from like buying like some electronics or something. But yeah, dude, these styrofoams are so good. They're so good. But yeah,
we like need that package now. All right, I said this is the last one, but Yura asks in the comments, can we take a quick look at the rope scene? And as you open it, I will tease. This is what they call in the broadcast teasing. We have a ropes tutorial coming soon on obviously how to set up a scene like this, how to light it up, and how to use our materials in it. I should have asked Chad if you had that one available.
I do,
but you're asking about it. So look for a tutorial soon. If you haven't played with the ropes and the new dynamics and simulations in Cinema 4D, they are super fun. You've already seen some examples of the cloth engine with the felt that Chad showed. This I know is used using the rope simulation. And again, as he opens the scene file here, I'll just say, look for a tutorial soon on how to set this up. And then Bach says he could hear the styrofoam. I like that. That's our tweet tomorrow, Chad. So good. You
could hear it squeak.
You just hear it squeak. All right. So go ahead. I see you have the seed file open.
Yeah, I mean, like listen, this is all cached out because this sim was like, I think I simulated this thing at least 100 different times before I found one that I liked. And then of course I promptly cashed it out to an Alembic. So I'm like the tutorial will get into the how like that Nick's gonna make as far as like how to set this all up. But yeah, I just figured I would open it up. I'm not really actually let me see. I might be able to I think I turned off all of the animation on this. So let me see. Yeah, okay. If I do use animation, then I can start to go through this cache. Gets kind of crazy after a while. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. Basically, you're just simulating or doing a rope sim on the curves, and then there's like an inside sweeping across those curves. And then once I got that done, I cashed it all out to an Alembic so that I could quickly kind of like, figure out what I wanted it to look like. And yeah, I think I threw almost, not all of them. I think I threw like how many do I have here? Probably 25 different paracords on here. And obviously I'm like subdividing them quite a bit for some of these close-ups, which is why it's taking so long right now. But I think if I just let it go here for a second. Let's go ahead and find a cool spot. But yeah, there is a lot of detail in these paracords, and the colors are a lot of fun to play with. As I'm sure you've been doing the tutorial, so you've probably been having fun.
Dude, it's been great. Stay tuned for the tutorial. We're also getting a suggestion for the frosty can scene. And Alex, that is high on our list as well, to put out some sort of tutorial or video or setup on how that is. I've been playing with it. Chad's been helping me out, kind of dial that look into. So expect a tutorial relatively soon on that one as well. Those are at the top of our tutorial list, are ropes and a frosty can scene. And then a really in-depth detailed tutorial on how to measure stuffed owls. That'll be behind the scenes only, just for you guys. All right. Well, maybe it's time we start to wrap this thing up. Chad, any other scene files you want to show off before we
come to the Discord? I'll show some more.
Ooh, that's the teaser we've been looking for. Yura's asking what you use to drive the ropes. I think I know the answer to this one, and it is Signal. So, Chad, you want to talk a little quickly about some of the animation techniques in this scene? I know I'll be showing you in the tutorial, but
I don't want to give away too much of the stuff that we're doing in the tutorial, but yeah, so it's a combination of signal and fields and field forces, and just a kind of a combination of all those things, really. But Nick is going to do a bit of a deeper dive on some of the techniques that I did for this. That'll be out soon, hopefully.
Yeah, I appreciate the question. And stay tuned. If you're watching here on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. It helps us out, and it'll notify you. In fact, you could hit the notifications if you want, and that'll actually let you know when we have new tutorials. We have so much more stuff planned here at Greyscalegorilla, and it helps us get the word out when new stuff is announced.
All right, thanks for watching, everyone. If you've made it this far and you're not a Plus member, consider subscribing and saving time and making more beautiful renders with Greyscalegorilla Plus. We'll have a link down below to learn more about it. And if you want to know next time we're going live, make sure you're a subscriber and you hit that bell thing. It'll let you know when we have our next live show. All right, with that, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in another video really soon.
Bye-bye. Bye, Chad.
Bye, everybody. Bye.